Hi, I'm Heather, reporting for FinTech Futures from Money20 USA. I'm pleased to say that we are jumping into a deep conversation today about accelerating transformation, and I'm joined by both Mambu and Deloitte. Gentlemen, welcome. It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your company?
Yeah, so my name is Anshul Verma. I'm part of the partnerships team at Mambu. Mambu is a cloud-native core banking software solution. It's a next-generation software, cloud-native, deployed out as a software as a service. We have more than 250 customers globally, deployed in 65 countries, and work very closely with partners like hyperscaler partners like AWS, Google, Microsoft, and on the consulting and system integrator side, I have a long-standing partnership with Deloitte, and really happy that Manpreet Singh, who manages our partnership in the US and also on a global scale, is joining us. So over to you, Manpreet.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, just a little bit about myself. Manpreet Singh, Managing Director with Deloitte Digital Banking Practice, and great partner with Mambu as part of our next-gen solutions in the market, and super cool to be here to talk more.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to dive in with a broad and deep question. A lot of the conversations we've been having around the show are all about accelerating transformation. Everything's happening faster. FinTech is moving faster. What do you see as some of the major reasons behind this and the impetus for everything that's going on?
So look, the reason everybody's talking about acceleration in the market with FinTechs, FinTechs are coming in and almost eating Wall Street's lunch, right? These guys are coming in, newer stacks, newer experiences, newer, less tech debt, and those things as part of their setup, and they are gaining a lot of traction in the market share as part of your customers with the large financial institutions. And then the larger FIs are lagging behind given their technology debt, given their archaic systems. So a lot of that FIs are now trying to catch up to them and trying to catch up to the leapfrog that they've been encountering with these FinTechs. So acceleration becomes key for them to kind of catch up to that. And a lot of the acceleration we have in the market comes from assets and things that we have developed and Mambu has as part of their core stack. So that's the reason I think a lot of the FIs are thinking, hey, they're lagging behind and they need some acceleration in their journey.
Yep. And Mambu has worked very closely with fintechs, neobanks, digital lenders, and we've seen these companies standing up these tech stacks in 6 months, a year, and actually scaling fairly quickly, right? So you'll see the time to market is faster. You'll see that they are able to respond to customer expectations, customers adapting, regulatory environment, try to the decision making, the agility in that organization is definitely higher. And as Manny said, right, they're eating up a lot of the market share of these regulated financial institutions, and they've got a chance to leapfrog some of the debt that the financial institutions are carrying. So acceleration is really important to stay relevant, to for their growth, for scaling their business. And we'll talk more about the technologies that we bring into it and how we've seen some of our customers being successful in this architecture that Mambu brings and Deloitte helps us take to the market as well.
Acceleration means, sure, a fintech gets matured in a domain. Let's say they best of the best, risk parts of it, or they do best KYC part of it. The banks, rather than competing in that space, can then integrate them into their own stack, right? For that, even the bank has to have a better technology handle on their stack, how they want to make it open, right? And as we'll talk a little bit more about open banking as well as a great, really happy to see in the marketplace, folks talking about it, that we've been, coming from Europe installations that we're bringing in back into the US. So really good to see that also as part of the acceleration topic.
Yes, it is. I want to get more into the technical side, but part of what you mentioned that we can pause on for a second is this, bringing in the fintech to the bank, making sure that we're all working together in the field. And what you've done between Deloitte and Mambu have also been helping with that too. So can you tell me first about the partnership that you've made and what is resulting from that?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Mambu and how the ecosystem is under which we operate. So Mambu is a thin core, and it's a low-code configurable platform that is, built, of course, on the cloud and brings in an ecosystem of best-of-breed partners, right? So what that means is that you are outsourcing expertise to the ecosystem and, just focusing on developing a better core. And that helps you adapt fairly quickly to like maybe, local environments or like, local industry needs. You are bringing in best of breed solutions. You're not stuck with vendors that you don't want to work with. So as a part of that offering and how we go to the market, it's very critical that we are able to stitch together this offering and really build out a bank that our customer want, like a build out an offering. So we give them options. And I think that is something that the legacy core banking softwares are not able to do, right? They're stuck in that monolith. It's hard to get out of it. It's hard to innovate. So our philosophy is like, build your own bank. We'll give you the ecosystem partners. We'll bring in best of breed solutions. And a partner like Deloitte, of course, has a lot of experience in working with financial institutions, fintechs, understanding their problems, and also helping us identify this offering and build this offering and then stitch it together.
I'll touch on the monolith part, right? I mean, gone are those days when banks wanted a monolithic architecture, right? Again, openness, right? Lack of openness. So what a next-gen core like Mambu does is forces them to have a thin ledger or a thin, transaction processing system almost. And that leaves a lot of unknowns around it, right? What are the ecosystem that completes the bank? Because bank does not just only does transaction processing, right? It needs, risk parts, it needs regulations, it needs experience, channels, all that good stuff. So that's where we come in, right? We have developed and invested heavily into our product called Converged Banking Suite, right? It's basically across customer engagement all the way down to your infra layer. It has adapters, assets, product built in, and that can accelerate your journey if you bring in a next-gen core like Mambu in your stack. So combination of our product and Mambu, I can give them that a jump start. And the thing that takes years to implement, like core modernization or tech modernization journeys, this is a matter of months now. So as part of that,
matter of months.
I'd like to add to that, like Deloitte and Mambu have done a lot of global implementations now, right? And we've built these tools which will help our customers, and when we go to the market, like help them accelerate that time frame as well, right? Because a lot of the challenges, how do we move from an existing core to a new core, and like this gives them a sort of a blueprint of or tools and accelerators to take that journey quickly and leave all those decisions, or help them in the decision making and help them in that journey and be more confident about moving into a next generation core. So
we're excited.
I appreciate that partnership, and
we're excited.
Yeah.
Well, as you talk about this, I feel like I hear a lot about sprints right now in the technology stacks, and I think it's because it's very uncertain what's happening far into the future right now. There's a lot that might be up in the air and up for play. But how do you help position, or how do you help bankers start thinking about long-term vision, making sure that they're ready to prepare?
Right. Again, the answer to future proofing is in thinking composable, thinking composite, right? So if you think about it, right? If you have a Lego blocks, when you play with Legos as part of it, and my 5-year-old loves playing with Legos, and I watch him, right? And if he doesn't like a color of a brick, he just immediately changes it, right? So that allows him to build whatever he wants, right? On top of it, change whatever he wants on top of it. Same mentality has to come into the banks where composite-based architectures, again, the 1033 regulation just, showed up, right, as part of our rule finalization in last week. That will actually enable the banks, and rather than being scared of it, they should just embrace it as part of that, right? That, yours been doing that for past, 2-3 years or longer. And, this will enable that openness in their architecture. You'll be able to ingest data from outside in. You'll be share data from inside out, right? Based on, consent from the customers. But that will enable more ecosystem play will come into the effect as part of that. And that's what I think having a composite, or openness in your stack will allow you to be future-proof, because future could bring more regulations, future could bring more mature fintechs in certain domains that the bank wants to play, or it brings in, embedded banking type of use cases that we have not seen. Quantum computing is coming as well as part of our, next-gen stacks. So again, having that thinking of not a monolithic and more composite base will enable them to have that future-proofing.
Yep. And then, that's our philosophy at Mambu, right? We are a composable banking software solution. So the idea of ecosystem is going to drive, organizations towards this change and help them achieve. I mean, things could change, in the next 5 years. We don't know. Gen AI, there are other technologies that are coming in. You need to have, as an institution, an architecture that allows best of breed technologies to come in and integrate quickly and seamlessly, and that reduces the overall risk of the company or an institution to adapt to these kind of changes that we are seeing. And yeah, I mean, API driven, cloud-based, optimized for performance. So I think those things are going to be critical on the top side. I mean, revenue side, in terms of growing your market, as well as on the bottom line, right? Having those margins that are going to be important when we see so many fintechs right now, so many banks, and when then consolidation happens, where I was able to make that has adapted to these technologies will survive, and having an open architecture is probably the most important thing to allow these best of breed technologies, change vendors. As Benny mentioned, if something's not working out, you should be able to swap it out with something else, right? And that's the kind of ecosystem blueprint helps achieve. Yeah.
I think especially with the rise of AI, we'll see fintechs developing things much more rapidly, and there'll be competitive products coming out quickly, and consumer demands will be changing quickly. So in that sense, it is important to have that available and be able to modernize your bank as quickly as consumers are asking for it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then 1033 is a really good example of that, because I know some bankers are looking at this as in a have to or still fighting it. But should they be positioned, I think you could probably make the argument where they can use this data and actually use it as competitive to make those.
Absolutely. And I think this is a chance. And like I said, right, they should embrace it, and rather than, fight it, as part of it. Sure, timelines can be, can be up in the air, but they need to embrace it. And the insights that they will get out of this exercise will be immensely good for their own bottom line revenue, right, as part of that. So they'll be able to know their customer better. They'll be able to know, the spectrum of spending, spectrum of deposit that the customer is looking at. And it'll unlock a lot of use cases as we go as part of that. So like Europe has it already.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, we've seen this happen in Europe already. I think 5 years back, 3 to 5 years back, and now we'll see that as an important lever for us to go to the market, educate a little bit more, enable FIs to think in, as Maddie mentioned, sharing data, accepting data, have a 360 view for a customer. All that is going to be facilitated through open banking regulations, and I think we're prepared for it. So it's great that
given we've done the PSD2 compliance in Europe.
Yep.
That's just one use case. The US regulations is a little bit more complex, but you can do once, you can show, you can obviously make it more open. So I'm very confident.
Well, I like it. It looks exciting times for the future, and we appreciate the acceleration and the conversation. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.